Joining me now is the person who operates this anti-work group, Doreen Ford. All right, so Doreen, why do you like the idea of being home, not working, but still getting paid by corporate America?
Yeah, so there's some misconceptions about the movement. So we're a movement where we want to reduce the amount of work that people feel like they're forced to do.
So Doreen, but you're not being forced to work. This isn't slave labor. You've applied for a job. You've agreed to the terms and conditions of the employment. And, you know, you can walk away from that job at any time and quit. So
I think laziness is a virtue in a society where people constantly want you to be productive 24/7.
What do you think is like a good work day? How many hours is you know, a solid work day in your ideal society?
Sure. I mean, I think as much as people want.
Le who? The her.
And what do you do, Doreen?
I'm a dog walker.
And is there something you want to do besides being a dog walker? Do you aspire to do anything more than dog walking, or is that kind of your pinnacle?
I would love to teach. I would love to,
teach.
That's really funny.
What would you teach, Doreen?
Philosophy mostly.
Philosophy.
Just
Oh! Oh, beautiful!
Philosophy, critical thinking, reason, stuff like that.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and today I have seen everything. I actually don't spend literally any time on Reddit. I don't see any value in it, but it's really just a, you know, it's a non-issue. If you do spend time there, fine, you know, whatever. There's probably good memes there at times, but I spend, you know, time in my Gilded. By the way, I mentioned it yesterday. It's a kind of a more open Discord alternative, and I fixed the link in my link tree. So if you want to join and hang out with thousands of other awesome people, it's obviously totally free. They have all the same stuff Discord does, you know, voice chat, sharing, screen sharing, all this kind of stuff. So if you're interested, join it up. Now, I also learned yesterday that there was a massive subreddit of people who are anti-work. Now, there were at times some good conversations that happened there, but look, about workers' rights and you know, employers who are crummy and things like that. But one of their mods decided to do a disastrous interview on Fox. I have no idea why, and it has been such a spectacular backfire. It's hard to imagine things going worse. You can see anti-work subreddit, which, by the way, had like 1.6 million people in it, suddenly goes private to, quote, clean up after brigading. The popular subreddit called r/anti-work. I mean, who isn't anti-work? I mean, like, unironically, work is a part of life. That's why it's called work and not fun, all right? I have about as easy a job as you could get, and it still feels like work some days. I don't complain about it because I'm very lucky. I'm not, you know, I look at road crews and plow drivers and things like that right now when it's like 0 degrees, -3, -4 here in Wisconsin. That's work. What I do, it's a little bit of work adjacent. The forum has 1.7 million subscribers and was the fastest growing non-default Reddit on January 26th, according to the site's public metrics. Now it's in locked from view with a post that reads, "We're closed while we deal with the cleanup from ongoing brigading. We'll be back soon. You don't need to request to join. We'll be back soon. I promise." Now, brigading is, you know, when people roll in there and who aren't generally members of a particular community. do this or that. The forum slogan is, quote, unemployment for all, not just the rich. What? What? Who's going to pay for this? Anyway, although it's been around since 2013, subscriber growth spiked this fall, doubling in the last 3 months alone. It's been fueled by discontent with the state of the labor market during the lockdowns. More workers are refusing to accept conditions and pay that were previously the norm. Hey, I'm here for it. I've often mentioned this. You know, I don't live in a big city, but I live closer to one, right? It's suburbs. And the McDonald's is paying like $18 an hour starting. I'm happy for them. They still obviously can't get anybody to work there, but I mean, for a high school kid or part-time extra money job, $18 an hour is pretty dang good. And I imagine their managers must make 60, 70K if that's what they're paying their entry level. The point of the movement is not to tell everyone to go quit your job immediately, and don't think about the economic impact on yourself or your family. That's definitely not the message. One of the forum's moderators, Doreen Ford, told Bloomberg last month, the central aim of our mission, of course. Now they go on to say, the central aim of our mission is to undermine and subvert, I always love when people use those words out loud, capitalism as much as possible and make it so that people don't have to rely on their jobs as much to pay rent. Well, I mean, if we're talking about the barter system or we're talking about, alternatives, yeah, I'll listen to that. But not a filthy commie. First conceived as a place to undermine capitalism, many are now using the group as a place to discuss workers' rights, air grievances against employers, and post cathartic screenshots and videos of people quitting. The subreddit's growing in popularity has also brought in more media attention. Ford was recently interviewed by Fox News' Jesse Waters' primetime show about the movement. Ford did not immediately respond to a request for comment Wednesday. A representative for Reddit said the company wasn't involved in the decision by the forum to go private and directed questions about it to the subreddit's moderators. Well, let's see. Let's just take a quick look. In an archive post, another person identifying themselves as an R anti-work wrote that we're under heavy fire by brigaders, quote, new users that never participated here, adding that their bad actors showed why we will outright decline right-wing media like Fox News from now on. Let's take a look. So they have here, the anti-work thread has 1.6 million, it's actually 1.7 million viewers, and yeah, pretty cool. Forum's moderator said that they weren't banning people for discussion on the interview per se, but rather for breaking the forum's preset rules.
1.6 million subscribers. All right, so Doreen, why do you like the idea of being home, not working, but still getting paid by corporate America?
Yeah.
Oops. Why would you get paid? You're staying at home, but you still want to get paid? That seems like a paradox.
So there's some misconceptions about the movement. So we're a movement where we want to reduce the amount of work that people feel like they're forced to do. And so we want to still put in effort. We want to put in labor, but we don't want to necessarily be in a position where we feel trapped. You just quoted from Office Space where that person feels very trapped in their job. I think we're calling for a society where there's less of that. But yeah.
A noble cause, by the way. It would be nice if everyone made more money for less work. That's not exactly a bold position to take.
Absolutely, people still want to do things. They just want to do things where they feel rewarded and they feel like they're in a good spot in their life and that their job respects them and stuff like that. There's varying.
So Doreen, but you're not being forced to work. This isn't slave labor. You've applied for a job. You've agreed to the terms and conditions of the employment.
A very valid point.
And you can walk away from that job at any time and quit. So I don't understand
Yeah,
really what this is about, except it sounds like maybe people are just being lazy. Are you
Whoops.
encouraging people to be lazy?
So I think laziness is a virtue in a society where people constantly want you to be productive 24/7, and it's good to have rest. That doesn't mean you should be resting all the time or not putting effort into things that you care about. But I think one of the...
By the way, you know, look, I know people are memeing on this person. I'm not going there, you know, the way they look and things like that. I don't really inherently have any kind of problem with what they're saying, you know, like so far. But hold on.
What do you think is like a good work day? How many hours is you know, a solid work day in your ideal society?
Sure. I mean, I think as much as people want. I mean, I personally work. I have like a 25-hour work weeks, which I think is fairly good.
25-hour work weeks. Most of us work that in 2 to 3 days. But hey, I'm not like, again, if you can sustain yourself on 20 to 25 hours of work, then again, there's also nothing wrong with that. I'm sure that they have an extremely stressful job.
So I would like less work hours.
And what do you do, Doreen?
I'm a dog walker.
A dog walker. Okay.
Yes.
Dog walking. By the way, a friend of mine left Wisconsin and walks like famous people's dogs, and he makes a pretty good living doing it. But I know he works about 60 hours a week.
And how?
Yeah. So
how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure, I'm 30.
You're 30.
30 years old. You know, there's walking dogs, and then there's like, you know, having the entrepreneurial spirit, and then there's walking dogs 20 hours a week and then complaining about it. I think that's where a lot of the backlash is coming from.
30. Okay. And is there something you want to do besides being a dog walker? Do you aspire to do anything more than dog walking, or is that kind of your pinnacle?
I love working with...
By the way, he's being a real jerk. I mean, look, look, if you only want to work 25 hours a week, I don't know. I don't get like this, how do I say, like, so if you can get by, good, you know, now expecting the same pay and the same, you know, outcome from everything, that's not going to fly.
Dogs, if I had to do this for the rest of my life, you know, I wouldn't be super complaining. You know, dogs are wonderful animals. But I would love to teach. I would love to, work with people and stuff like that.
What would you teach, Doreen?
Philosophy mostly. Just introduction to philosophy, critical thinking, reason.
Of course.
And stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I would love to take your class, Doreen. I would just be taking notes the whole time. And you know what? A professor's a very similar schedule than something that you're imagining. So I think that actually might work perfectly for you. Listen.
You know, again, this is like the first time I watched the interview. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It really isn't. Now, the idea that you would want to get, you know, work... The moderator told anti-work is a philosophy that is a radical one that tries to strike at the systemic issues within capitalism. But I think that intuitive thing where a lot of people are trying to do work-life balance, a lot of people are quitting their jobs, a lot of people are fed up with how companies may be handling the coof and stuff like that. I actually think that that's fine. The impending meltdown has been pretty funny, though. You can see, oh no, the moderator of our anti-work sub did a Fox News interview yesterday. It went so poorly that they nuked the entire sub. Sorry doesn't cut it. Mods are not leaders of this sub. Moderation team are not the content creators, are not developers of video games. We're on or not authors of some book that we're all reading. You have no power here. You can modify comments. You can delete comments. You can delete threads to the extent of the power you hold as a moderator. It's not an attack on you, but it's to remind you that you should have no influence over this sub. And if you are having influence over the sub, then there's something immensely wrong. I can't believe how painfully ironic it is that you have some authority and you exerted it incorrectly and immediately refuse to acknowledge it or correct on the sub, which is literally dedicated to holding those who do exactly what you did accountable. It turned on itself. 2.3 thousand comments. They got all sorts of gold and awards. I don't really understand that. And then they just shut it down. It's all over. I guess I'll have to go get a job. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.